address here, State of the Tribe address.
Okay, we've started recording. So we will do a State of the Tribe. Interesting.
Brett, you're going to
quite that way.
Sorry.
What's that?
Brett, you're going to get another request from me. I'm moving from my Chromebook to my desktop in a minute or two.
Okay.
So
Tom will have to let you in. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Yep.
Not a problem, Richard.
Thank you.
Do you all know each other? Who doesn't? Okay. Connie, would you take a minute and introduce yourself? And everyone, I'm going to ask everyone to introduce themselves, just so that we all get on the same page with each other. But Richard just clicked out. Let me let him back in again on his desktop. Give me just a second. You'll see him when he gets here. He's coming in. He's coming in now. Okay, here he comes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Back.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Let's just do a quick round robin introduction. And Connie, if you would, I'd welcome you being the lead-off speaker this morning.
That sounds good. Well, I am so grateful to be here. And Tom, since the last time we spoke, I pivoted a little bit. So of course, as many of us have with COVID. And so basically after about 3,000 hours of interviewing, I've interviewed top world experts. I started to understand that there was a disconnect and it was more difficult for them to get their message out into the world today, just because the online space, what I realized to understand is that the online space is so crowded. Like you talked about last night, Tom, in your training with so many social media sites, and we've got more coaches now than ever and all of that. And that kind of freaked me out because I believe that we're at a tipping point in society where we need the messages of the greats now more than ever before. And so I created a simple 3-step process that's called the influencer interview, where basically what I do is support purpose-driven authors, speakers, coaches, really purpose-driven entrepreneurs to be able to share their message in such a way that gets to the underlying, the story that they don't know yet, the underlying story that they don't have access to, so they can build trust faster with their prospects. And then I repurpose all of the content, because I know entrepreneurs are crazy busy, through YouTube videos and trust building sizzle reels and all of that. So that's what I'm focused on.
Fantastic. I look forward to learning more about that. Good. And I'll just go around the room as I see you in my room. And Gary, you're next. You're sitting with Connie this morning.
All right. Thanks, Tom. Hi, Brett. Good to see you. My name is Gary Reineke. I'm in Murrieta, California. For the last 30 plus years, I've been training and coaching leaders to start and reproduce healthy churches. And I'm an avid mountain biker. So we get up. We were out on the trail this morning at 6 a.m., ride for a little bit, come back, and then plop myself in front of my computer like this.
Beautiful. Gary, you got to come to Sedona. Have you?
Oh, yeah. You know, I lived in Phoenix, so that's where 20 plus years ago, we started riding. You ride around Camelback.
Okay, great.
Squaw Peak, what used to be Squaw Peak.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So go do Broken Arrow.
Okay.
When you get a chance in Sedona.
Right on.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Good to see everybody.
Welcome. Richard, tell us about Richard.
A little bit. Pompano Beach, Florida for the last 6 years, Greenwich, Connecticut for 5 years before that, and Philadelphia for 120 before that. So it's the Northeast and the Southeast coasts. Loving it down here. No reason to go back except for kids and grandchildren and who knows what else after that. I focus on helping small to mid-sized organizational leaders understand what responsible, sustainable leadership is, and then I help them develop it for themselves first. Once they develop their personal leadership in that arena, then they can help the people in their organization. I've been doing it for 40 years plus. I am actually kicking off a new program under a different banner, which will be execsconcierge.com. And it's going to be focused on the public sector leaders. They don't get enough of the real stuff. They get whatever their associations are willing to give them. And it's a different take than what we do in the private sector concerning leadership. And as we move into 2021 and a less COVID world, these people are serving us, which is city managers and chamber presidents and nonprofit directors, those kinds of people. They need a new look. So I'm putting this together. It'll be ready for publicity in about 2 weeks, and it'll kick off beginning of February.
Fantastic.
That's Richard today.
Fantastic. Thank you, Richard. John Barron, welcome. Good morning. You're muted, John, so you'll need to unmute yourself. Oh, still muted. There you go.
There we go.
Okay, are we ready? Okay, I am John Barron. I am a relational media marketing strategist, and I'm from Star, Idaho for the last 7 years. And what I do is help businesses figure out what are their best media options, such as search engine and pattern interrupt. Search engine being YouTube, Google, and Pinterest, and pattern interrupt being Facebook, Instagram are the two popular ones.
Well said.
Yeah, Brett, I believe you should use Pinterest. Would be because of your art. I heard about your art, and I think it would be just ideal for you.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I've done well with Instagram, and I've got to get my people to manage Pinterest as well. Thanks for that.
All right.
Yeah, welcome, John.
Thank you.
Man, I used to live down the street from you in Eagle, so.
Oh yes.
I can say honestly, living in San Diego, I terribly miss Idaho. Terribly miss it. And I've got Boise State pre-programmed to play football tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific. So
against Hawaii, right?
Yep. So it's one of the little addictions that I
have. When was the last time you actually came back and visited? Because it has changed.
It's been 2 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
you would be amazed how much it has grown here.
I understand. The whole world's moving to Star.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Miss Benoit, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Véronique Benoit, and I am originally from Belgium and moved to the States 4 years ago. So now living in Fountain Hills, close to Scottsdale, Phoenix area. I am a world expert in helping people reduce their stress level and uplift their well-being. And I'm doing that with a certain method. It's called sophrology. And that's an integrative system of all kinds of meditation, relaxation, psychology techniques. So you can really rock in your true life. So that's me. And I love making jewelry. So I am a silversmith. When I have some hours over, then I'm making jewelry. So, and art too.
How cool is that? Good, wonderful. Barry, tell us about Mr. Bevier.
Morning. I am Barry Bevier. I'm in Vista, California, originally from Michigan. I had a career in civil and geotechnical engineering for 30 years and have transitioned over the past few years into wellness and a couple other things along the way. But I work with a company called StemTech. They have nutritional supplements that enhance the release of your own adult stem cells. So the more stem cells you have in your body, the healthier you will be, the slower you will age. And so I've been involved with them been taking the products for about 8 years and have been in the business for a year or so now. Also recently got started with a company in Escondido that has disinfecting products. and services. They are non-toxic, no alcohol, no chlorine or other chemicals, and they last up to 28 days on surfaces. We have a hand sanitizer that lasts up to 4 hours after you apply it, and all non-toxic. So I'm pursuing that, and we'll see where that goes as COVID dissipates. So other people will still be aware that they need to sanitize and disinfect. So thank you. Good to see everybody.
Welcome, Barry.
Welcome.
And Todd, I want to say Uncle Todd. It just sounds like a good name.
Uncle Todd. Yeah, that sounds good. Just turned 50 last week, so getting older. But excited.
I'll wait for you, Todd. I'm going to wait for you.
Wait for me. Well, I'm excited. As Tom mentioned earlier, I dabbled a little bit in virtuality 4 years ago, and who knew it would be such a big thing right now? And I'm excited to have completed my next second and third books this year on ministry. And I have 4 verticals, which are ministry, hospice, senior living, and hospitals. And really, what I'm looking to do is create really strong verticals. And what I mean by that is just, like partner relationships and everything. And things I haven't really told all of you and even Tom is that I've been growing these lists of people in these groups. There's like 20 to 40 in each vertical so far. And a lot of them are looking for what inTHETRIBE is. They're kind of done with the LinkedIns. They're done with all of this and are really looking to really connect with their customers and their prospects again. We kind of got rid of that. So I just finished all the training this last weekend. I was fortunate enough to take Tom's training on referral marketing. So I'm excited to take all that now and do a business where we can just really get back to creating relationships with people and building trust again instead of doing this fake Facebook world. So I'm excited to start all that. So yeah, thanks for everything. What I do is really I have 3 books, 6 online courses on this, and what I'll be starting in December is an executive boot camp where I can take an executive going from 0 to getting launched in virtual reality in 1 day. So I have a series of 3 experts from all over the world teaching everybody what it is along with what I've been doing. So I think it's needed. We're not going back to the way things were, and exciting just to show people what virtual reality can do for their business. It's just crazy, all this new technology that's coming. So my job is just to get people in a conversation so they can lead from the front of technology. So excited to be here today. I think it's my first Saturday meeting, so I'm excited.
Fantastic. Glad to have you here, Todd.
Good to see you.
And
Good to see you, Brett.
There's a longtime friend of mine from Atlanta, Mr. Sheehan, Jeff, and a fellow Bostonian, I can proudly say.
Yes, Tom grew up actually in the next town over, at Randolph, Mass, and I'm from Quincy,
Man. Yeah,
right next door. So, but I'm calling from Atlanta, as Tom mentioned. I'm an author, speaker, and I do an awful lot of philanthropic work. I'm on the board of advisors for Salvation Army here, and working on another book on thought leadership, and do some social selling seminars and workshops and that, as well as teaching job seekers how to use LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Google for the job search, and do that all on a volunteer basis with local churches and groups nationally.
yeah. Jeff is being a little bit humble. He's probably one of the most connected guys you'll ever meet on social media. What are you up to now? Just you can brag a little bit. What are you up to now in terms of?
I'm still 300 something thousand on Twitter and 22,000 on LinkedIn, but I have really stopped growing it much more. I can't. It's just become too overwhelming, quite honestly.
Sure, understand. Well, we just had another friend join us. I just let me introduce Johar to you all. Welcome, Johar. We're just at the start of the meeting. Everyone's had a chance to introduce themselves to each other. And now it's your turn. So I hate to put you out in front of the spotlight before you've had a chance to get your seat warm, but tell everyone in a minute a little bit about yourself.
Good morning. My name is Johar Zaidi, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. I started several companies in hardware, chip design, software designs, and currently I'm doing a security company, security and privacy. So And also I mentor startups at Evo Nexus in San Diego. We have incubators which we help companies to grow and get fundings. And so if you guys need any marketing, sales, or fundings, please reach out to me.
Excellent.
Excellent. Fantastic. Brett, anything you want to do to pick up the ball here?
Oh, well, it's just great to hear where everyone is and what you're all doing. And in the tribe, if you look at in the tribe as a few different circles, you have the tribe, the global tribe, and that's growing. We're excited about that. And then inside you have your tribe. And then inside of that, you have tribes, right? And in some ways, this is one of those tribes, and it's a little more intimate. We get to go a bit deeper. And Tom and I believe, I'll speak for both of us, I think I safely can in this case. We just believe that the tribe builders, this membership level that you're part of is much more than a membership level. We think there's something extremely profound going on here, and it's not something that you grasp really quickly, but over time you'll hear yourself saying, oh, I get it. And then 6 months later you go, now I really get it. And what we've learned is you're always getting it. Been working on this project for over 8 years, Tom and I, and in many different forms. And I'll tell you that we're still getting it. And it just gets better or gooder and gooder and gooder. So today's one of those days where we get to make it gooder. And I'm excited to be here with you. So.
Excellent.
Brett, there's as you said, you get it, you get it, you get it. It is a nuanced environment. Every one of us is on here for, I believe, a different reason.
Mm-hmm.
And when Rod introduced it to me, it just instantly clicked for one reason. I don't even remember what that was for sure. And as I've spent the last I guess it's 4 or 5, 6 months now, it has that my understanding of it has grown. The value of it and what can happen here is clearer. And I'm calling them sub-tribes, my extra tribes. I have my tribe, and then I have my personal tribe, and then I have 3 company tribes or concept tribes are now beginning to needle me as they need some more input. They need to be taken advantage of in a positive way, which is what Veronique responded to when I put a piece out from my positive psych that we're going to be in. One of my colleagues and also a member of my tribe, Al Raffetto, who's got a PhD in this stuff, we're going to be offering a workshop to the tribe, to the whole tribe. How many, by the way, are in the whole tribe? Do you have a number?
250 million.
Okay. And how many are connected on the software?
It's a little smaller number than that, but
okay, good. That's fine.
In the thousands.
Yes. And it just makes sense because the people who are here are thinking. And I don't mean just in this group today, but the people, even those who have not been taking advantage of what the tribe can do for them, are thinking, or they wouldn't be in here at all. And I've reached a point now where I am going to send a memo out to those who did join because of me, and they know me through other connections, who have done nothing, and I'm going to let them know that within 30 days, they will not be part of the tribe. I don't want them taking up space if they're not going to do something. It means they don't understand it. So there's no value for them, then they're not going to give value. And we need to give in this thing in order to get something out of it. It's like any other group or organization. I know I'm going on forever here, so I'll stop.
I like that you said people are thinking, and that I think Tom would, second that, and I would third that. But yeah, people are starting to think, and it's heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I would add, or just to compound on that point, I have a lot of conversations every day, every week about in the tribe, and I'm let's say refining how I invite people into the tribe from that conversation, or how I greet them after they come in. I'm going to use you as an example in just a minute, Richard, on this, because we're pre-programmed as individuals. We have been patterned, is a word I would use. We have patterns in our thinking, and when someone hears about in the tribe or takes an initial peek, what they attempt to do is to find the stereotype that they can associate with it that helps them understand it. And unfortunately, those stereotypes aren't appropriate, because we're not a social media platform as, you know, it's generically described. We're something with a couple of plus signs after it. We're not a LinkedIn as someone may try to associate, because LinkedIn to me is a fairly static platform and quite a bit top heavy in many respects. I think Jeff indicated some of those sentiments and how he described his relationship with those tools these days. So what I find I have to do, and I'm doing this more and more proactively, and I give this to you if it has any value. When someone is a good candidate to join my tribe, I am immediately focused on how I can break that pattern, that thinking, that model that they have, that stereotype. And the best way I can do that is connecting them to someone else in the tribe where there is this potential for a synergy of some sort, a relationship of some sort. Mm-hmm. And as you know, I connected you just this week, or last week maybe, the weeks just pulled together, with Lisa.
Yes.
And I couldn't be sure that it would be a good connection, except I know enough about you, and I had learned enough about Lisa in a 20-minute conversation that said there's potentially a spark here that could ignite a relationship. And so I've transformed or added to my thinking the import of taking someone and driving a value proposition of being in the tribe right up into the forefront of their getting into a relationship with us all in the tribe. Because we have to break that mindset that is so standardized that we all bring to this party, and show the value and the uniqueness if we're going to cause people to move out of where they are to a new place of beginning to get it. At least that's my passion and perspective.
Yeah, that's really good.
I think, Tom, you hit a really good point, is that, Tribe is not Facebook or LinkedIn or, Twitter. So I think we have to create maybe our value proposition statement or differentiation to let people know that this is not social media.
Yeah, and that requires a redefining of, before Google, there wasn't a Google. Now it's in the dictionary.
Yes.
And now to us, that means search engine. And now it even means much more than that.
Right.
And so we get to redefine that. I want to share something to also help frame our conversation today. If you really want to know what I feel building tribe, not in the tribe, but creating a thriving tribe is all about, it's Aristotle's definition of virtue. It's the mean between too much and too little. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to think about that for a bit. But a virtuous person, when we're virtuous, when we strengthen our virtues, our tribe expands and becomes productive.
Mm-hmm.
And when they weaken, our tribe contracts and becomes stagnant or dissipates. As a tribe builder in a mastermind like this, we're here to find the mean, what's between too much and too little, too aggressive, too passive, right? Too much temperance, not enough. Too much prudence, not enough, right? So we're mastering the mean. And as we're doing that, our tribe expands, it thrives. We build a healthy ecosystem, and you have to have tools to do that. You have to be organized to do that. There are certain thoughts, activities, and habits that create that. And I would just like to throw that out there to go one more level deep while we're having mastermind on tribe building.
I think it's, can I say something?
Yeah.
So I think it's, Tom was saying, like, we are not LinkedIn, we are not, social media. We are providing a real value, real connections. We have interaction with, people who we can help or the people who can help us, right? So, I'm part of an organization called Toastmasters, and they have like 400,000 people around the world. And they create small tribes, like we have a Fallbrook tribes and Carlsbad tribes and San Diego tribe. And these people also meet weekly basis and interact with each other. And same way you create contact and long-term friendship and relationship, right? So we have to bring those kind of ideas and stuff that each tribe we create. You have in the tribe, and then in the tribe you have several tribes. So each tribe has to provide some kind of a value to that group, so the people can keep coming back and say there is a. So Toastmaster provide like business or public speaking, and people understand, okay, if I keep coming, I'm keep improving myself. So somehow we need to create like Tom's and Brett, your experience, that how people can become like you, or what kind of business years of experience you have. Maybe just like you have videos, people can learn a lot from those. But each tribe member, when they join in Toastmaster, we give them like a 10 speeches, and each speech is focusing on certain things, and they're learning about first speech is like to tell about yourself, the second speech some ideas, and so when they pass the 10 speeches, then they becomes Toastmaster. So we have to create. I think you have lots of experience. You have done this meetings, which we do breakfast meeting in real life, right? Tom was showing me the other day your videos about the breakfast in Arizona. So, and I was surprised, like 8 a.m. and so many people was there. So, but they saw something that they have to go wake up in the morning and get to this breakfast meeting. So that kind of fire or something we need to see if when people join, then we give them that thing that's how much valuable this thing is, so they can keep coming back.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Anybody else want to comment?
Go ahead, Todd. Go.
Oh, I was fortunate enough, obviously, with my work, virtual reality, I get to talk to different spectrums of people. And what I've heard most recently with my work with my local chambers here in San Diego is the millennials are so disconnected right now, and they're realizing that they've missed something along the way, and that's why I was doing all these videos yesterday. Is that this is exactly what all the younger people need. they live their whole life on Facebook and LinkedIn, and I have all the research. This unfortunate side of writing all these books is, the depression levels and the isolation right now. I think in San Diego, like suicide rates are up hundreds of percent with younger people and stuff. So this isn't just like fun and games. A lot of the millennials really want to start businesses. They're very entrepreneurial, and they're kind of, they don't know where to go. It's all these people on Facebook with the next big, be a millionaire in 3-day courses and all that stuff. And that's why it's exciting with all of you, so much experience. A lot of millennials are really want to create those deep connections. They're just not joining the chambers. They don't know where to go. They think Facebook is friends. And that's why I'm excited to listen to all of you. And
Todd, the thing that scares me about them is they tend to be attracted to the bright, shining object, and they don't vet things very carefully. I mean, I see them gravitating towards these. I mean, all you have to do is take a look at the Kardashians. And if you look at the social media space, they're similar in personalities. They don't vet these people. Where did they come from? Did they actually have to build themselves up from nothing? Or did they have a silver spoon that they started out with that allowed them to excel? They don't, and the problem is a lot of these so-called superstars, they don't reveal that they came from wealth or whatever. And so they expect everyone to go out there and be a successful entrepreneur, do this and do that. And if they hadn't had that wealth, they would never have succeeded, quite honestly. That's my perspective on things. I see so much disingenuous behavior and people not vetting people on social media or marketing out there in this day and age. Unlike when people such as Tom, myself, and everyone, and were much younger, everyone was vetted. People looked at your resume, they looked at your educational credentials, they looked at work experience, but that's no longer the truth. And you're absolutely right, Todd, with regard to them. They're seeking it, but they're looking in the wrong places for that information. That's my
right. So that's what I'm excited for in the tribe is a lot of younger people, and as we build our tribes out. So yeah, excited for that.
Yes, I think like a Facebook or MySpace or other social media, they starts with school and colleges, so they get to start using Facebook when they were in college, right? So, and then when they go out, they continue. So maybe we need to think how we can take in the tribe into the universities or colleges to introduce that to them, that's how they can create a long time, maybe fraternities and others they can use the tribe rather than social media.
The challenge for the tribe, I believe the challenge in the tribe is that because of the conditioning that Tom talked about earlier, the younger people are conditioned by Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, whatever else, wherever else they are spending their time, and the quick thumbs on their phones with instant gratification. The tribe does not offer instant gratification by any means. And to underscore the mean, Aristotle's mean, another thing that this intelligent, smart, incredible guy my father used to say to me was, everything in moderation. Mm-hmm. If you keep that as your mantra, there are times when it'll be appropriate to have a lot or too much of something or too little of something, or it will happen. But if your grounding is moderation, will get you pretty much whatever you need or want, you'll end up being pretty good. And that has helped me throughout my life.
Yes, moderation is another key.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Richard,
yes.
Richard nailed it here, and I want to give Tom a chance here to say some things as well. But the conditioning is more than even the current digital slumber. Think of everything in history. What is the nature of evolution? Travel, for example. Walk, then horse and buggy, then automobile, then plane. Now people are literally flying. Mm-hmm. So everything we do moves towards faster, easier, and more convenient. Then in the tribe comes along and we're going the other way. It's by no means fast, easy, or convenient. Maybe it's convenient. The tools are there. But you see so the opportunity here is actually to help people find that mean. And so when we're having conversations and building our tribe, where I've been successful, why every power breakfast I've run had people waiting out the door, no exaggeration, okay, is because we helped people find a deeper meaning or cause to wake up from the slumber. They won't do it for just another client. They've had an opportunity to do that forever. They have to tie to something more meaningful, where the old, cliche that the pain of remaining the same has to become greater than the pain of change.
Mhm.
And in order for them to feel that pain, they got to understand what the other side looks like. And so it's reawakening things that they really want versus, simple surface, come here because you're going to meet new people. I can meet new people anywhere. I don't need a tribe for that. Right? I meet new people every day in multiple different ways, and I can connect with them and I can make introductions. There's got to be something bigger.
The phrase that comes to mind, or the couple of words that come to mind when I talk about the value, is that in the tribe is a place to nurture important relationships.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I say about it. If you're not interested in nurturing relationships that are important to you, then the tribe doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't, because it's not a get rich quick scheme for sure. It's not even get rich slow necessarily. But if you've joined for money, this is not the place. You made a mistake, an error in judgment. I don't find that a reason to join the tribe. I have given more than I've gotten from the tribe, and that is, it feels great. I mean, we're doing a thing with, I feel like I'm monopolizing. I need to get out of this. I'm going to turn it off. Somebody else.
So I have a question for Tom and Brett. Your previous companies, Refer.com, why they became successful? What was the reason people were coming to that?
Well, I think there's a couple places to start the response, but the simple answer is people needed to find a better way to grow their business.
Mm-hmm.
And what was working at whatever point in time you asked wasn't working as well as it used to work.
Mm-hmm. For
all kinds of different reasons. You could talk about competition or COVID or technology or noise or the overwhelming advent of social intrusion in our lives. But at every point in time, the number one challenge I've always attempted to understand or get the answer to is the challenge of knowing what your problem is. I don't mean you personally, but if I said this last night in a different way, if I can understand what your problem is, and if enough people have that problem, then I have an opportunity to create something to solve that problem. If it's enough people, it could even become a company, a business. And in just about every organization I've started always emerged from understanding there's a problem. Now, how can we help solve that problem for the people who have it?
Mm-hmm.
And, there's an interesting dichotomy or duality here. One is I can help you solve your problem. I know that, and I know in the tribe, for example, is a solution to a certain group of problems. The challenge is getting you to step out of your own mind for a moment to put into the right order how this is the duality, how to get started on solving that problem and the price you have to pay. I'm not talking about dollar price. I'm talking about something else has to be put aside. A wise man once said to me, in every endeavor in your life, you should, before you start that journey, count the costs of moving from where you are into that new journey. I'm paraphrasing now. Mm-hmm. If you don't count the cost, then you don't have an appreciation for what you're investing, nor an appreciation for the value of what you're gaining. So in my refer company, the recognition that what I had been doing, I'm speaking as my marketplace saying what I had been doing isn't working. What I see my peers doing isn't working. And ultimately, when you get enough examples of that, such as we in the company did, we could turn that into a story. And that story could be turned into a pathway to a better place if I can get you to sit down and listen to the story. Okay. As Brett knows, I'm a raving fan of story in terms of use in the marketplace. I'm a raving fan. And a little biographical thing. I had to write an about me page about 6 months ago. I don't know if I told you this, Connie, but I had to write an about me page. So I wrote for a website I was building. So I wrote the about me page, and then I wrote about how to make an about me page. And I had done it all wrong because I modeled how other people talk about themselves in their about me pages. They talk about themselves. Mm-hmm. When in fact, that's the exact opposite of what you should be doing in your about me page. Yeah. You should be talking about the people who you're seeking to serve and the problems that they have and drawing their attention to them. This is part of story. And once they recognize the story, you have the opportunity to discuss how you address that story, that problem. And you end with the solution. And then it's their decision whether they want to keep their problem or not. And, you know, if you want to keep, if the cost of keeping your problem is lower than the cost of changing, keep your problem. It's so those are the kinds of things we all need to learn. At least I feel strongly about that.
Yeah, I think stories are the thing which people like to hear. Like that's why there's a Hollywood and Bollywood and all over the world these stories sells, right?
Yeah.
So we have to come up with the story about in the tribe. What's the story is?
I'd like to jump off what you said, Tom, and I love what you all are saying. Oh my gosh, this conversation's amazing. I don't know how I got into this meeting, but I'm so excited I did. There was a link, and I take opportunities, man. I clicked the link. Tom, I love what you're saying. And Brett, to go to your point, I think that there's a gap between, so we've got these millennials, and I hear what you guys are saying about that there's so many different people, there's so many different messages right now about quick fixes. You know, somebody had said earlier that there's a million different sponsored ads. In the first 30 seconds, they're like, just do my 3 quick things and you'll be a millionaire too. It's everywhere. And I believe that right now, because of what's happening in the world, because of, the global pandemic, all of it, it's shaken all of our trust in all of that. So I believe that the world is ready for what you guys are talking about, these messages. You're talking about that everyone has we've gone in the direction as a society of you can just get a quick fix. And in the tribe is saying, wait a minute, we need to go back to relationships. People are craving for this. And just to jump off, Jeff, what you talked about earlier, you said that people are following people that don't have the credibility, that have not got the blood, sweat, and tears. And what I'm finding, I'm sorry guys, I hope I'm not like blowing, I'm going too fast, but I get excited about this because after interviewing seriously best experts in the entire world that have changed the entire world and nobody knows about them, which drives me bonkers. But what I'm finding is that there's a disconnect between what the greats, what I call the greats, and people knowing about them. There's a disconnect. And I believe that disconnect is because the stories of the blood, sweat, and tears that they had to go to be a great, those stories are not being told. We've got the hero journey that's like up here. And Tom, I love that you're talking about stories. Stories are like, I love it. But the hero journey is like up here, and that's all we're getting. We're getting these rote hero journeys all over the place. So I think that there's an important conversation to be had about the depth of the story. And I think that there's millennials and people all around the world that are looking for the greats. And you guys are the greats, man. I'm hearing you talk about your credibility and the things that you've done. And I get mad that I didn't meet you before. And I think there's people looking for mentors like you, but they can't find you. And they don't know the cost of what it's going to take to reach their dreams, because all they're getting fed is the sunshine up their butts from what's happening in social media right now. They need these stories of your blood, sweat, and tears and what you learned in the real life deal. So I'm going to stop, but I love what you guys are talking about. I'm so excited to be part of this community right now, and you guys are amazing.
Connie, when you can figure out how to express yourself, please come back. That was wonderful.
That was great.
Underscoring, no pun intended, I'm a volunteer in SCORE. I don't know how many of you know what SCORE is, but it deals with startups and small companies. It's a volunteer organization. And it's been around for 51 years now. There are 10,000 of us mentors. We've had, I don't know, maybe 100,000 clients. It's national only, not worldwide. And yet the high percentage, I would say 80% of the world has no idea that SCORE even exists.
Yes. Yes.
It is one of these best kept secrets, which is ludicrous that it should be. And it's to your point about the disconnect between the heroes, because the people in SCORE are the heroes helping these other people get started so they can make billions. That's how it works, and nobody knows about them. I have 8 minutes, and I am sorry. I'm going to shut up and listen now. And then, boy, am I glad you're recording this, Tom. Thank you.
So I wanted to make a comment. Connie, that was great. I love your enthusiasm, and we must connect. Going back to what Richard said earlier about not being about there being no instant gratification in the tribe. I mean, we have to be intentional and focused on accomplishing what our platform is here, what we're attempting to do. And it's taken me a while to get it, and now it's working, and I'm building some great relationships. And then Jeff, you mentioned the millennials. I connected with a young man. He's a college athlete. He's in personal training, and now he's getting into life coaching. And we connected. He actually joined my tribe and then sent me a message on Shaper saying, "What's in the tribe?" So talking about not looking into the millennials. He's 27, not vetting things before they get involved or latch on to their philosophies. So that's interesting.
Just before I have a 31-year-old son from a second marriage, and there is hope, is what I can tell you, because until about 2 years ago, he was a classic fast thumbs on all Facebook, everything. He doesn't do that anymore. He moved from Philadelphia to Rochester, New York, alone in COVID, and has behaved and wears a mask if he goes out. He's a website SEO specialist, and that's what he does. And he's not looking for any quick fixes. He says, this is how I'm going to earn a living, and this is how I'm going to make my connections. There were a lot of years when I wasn't sure he would make it to 31. but he matured, grew up. Whatever happened, there is hope if they are exposed to the appropriate kinds of input, and that's our job. We created them to begin with. Mm-hmm. So if we don't like it, we have to take some responsibility for that. And on that note, I will miss you guys, but I have to go or my boss is going to fire me. I'll see you guys. Bye.
See you, Richard.
Bye.
Bye, Richard.
Bye, Richard.
Richard.
Okay, so we're approaching an hour here, and I appreciate being able to capture this hour on a Saturday morning, afternoon with you all. And there are, 10 of us now. So I'm going to ask a question. And, you know, when you start these kinds of dialogues, such as we have, you either start with an agenda or you see what emerges. And we've had a great conversation emerge. So I feel very good about what we've seen and learned and shared with each other. So I want to ask the, you know, I'm going to hold this up here, the one thing question. What, and relate to what we've just come from, if you would share, what is the one thing that you think we could learn or embrace or do or add to move the needle a little bit in the direction of bringing meaningfulness, bringing collaborative, conscious, and responsible more to the forefront in our respective worlds that we're working in? What is there a one thing that you can contribute that we can all draw from each other?
I think one thing, not the one thing, but one thing that I really believe makes the difference, it's the game changer, is when the mindset and probably the heart intention of the participant is all about the other person, period. And what I mean is I'm here, Tom, I'm here to help you succeed, period. And Brett, I would say the same thing for you. And I've met with a couple of you on the screen, and I would say the same thing to you too. I'm here to help you succeed. And as soon as that mind shift occurs and that heart posture, it changes the conversation. It changes the way you approach every interaction, and it'll change the community. But it's got to be full stop. I'm here to help you succeed. And there's no and, okay? And that's where I think things can kind of get a little bit confused.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. I love that. I love that, Gary, because it's starting out with the right footstep or the right on the right foot in any kind of relationship. Brett and I kind of do things like that inside of some of the tools we use, Shaper, you know. But it's something we need to do more of. Good stuff. Good stuff.
I thought of oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I don't know if you're going to move on. I would say kind of like what Gary was saying, it's just like back to basics. I think some of us have gotten away from some of the basics of blocking and tackling in sales and building relationships. We're all just looking for that quick sale, you know, being in radio sales and TV sales my whole life. That's kind of how you're taught. But when I look back, when I really grew as a salesperson, you know, I had really strong relationships, and somehow in the social media world, we just got away from that. And for me, it's not just for me, as I kind of stopped thinking about me, like you were saying, Tom, is now when you make an impact with other people, they're looking for the same thing. So when I share my struggles of, you know, I don't want to start over every year in sales. I want to build on this year, go into next year, and I build on that, and then I build on that. And so when I moved out here to San Diego 4 years ago, I kind of started from zero and built a network, but it was always that starting from zero, you know, every year. And that's why my bosses expected me to do it. So I think a lot of people, not just me, but how can I train others to get back to the basics? And how do you give a referral? And it's amazing how many people don't know how to do that anymore, or just have integrity and all of that, the basic stuff. So I love what this is, and I think a lot of people are excited. So as to grow as a group, we have to be that person first, like Gary was saying, and then teach them how to be that way.
Todd, I agree with you. And if you look at social media versus in the tribe, social media is FOMO. Everything's predicated on FOMO, fear of missing out. And the other thing is social media has turned into more of a transactional rather than a relationship building type of scenario. There's, again, just so many people on it, and everyone, if you look at the comments on LinkedIn, they're very, very superficial, great posts like this. Nothing is really a deep dive into solving the problems or the issues of the individual that you're communicating with. And I think that that's one thing in the tribe could offer is continue to build that foundation. If you, as you've alluded to, in doing the blocking and tackling the fundamental principles of sales.
I want to add something here too. What for me is important is that you have to be willing to give without wanting to have something in return. What I mean by that is that you must be willing to give something for free. So just by giving an example from myself. So I am in another group, networking group for women, and they're giving like presents to each other in the meeting. So, but I cannot attend the meeting. And I'm like, that's fine for me. I am going to give anyhow. And like I told you before, I am into jewelry. So I'm making meaningful jewelry. So I made a little ladder with a pearl in it. And it's like, it's ready. But where is my camera? My box. It's ready. So I made a little ladder and I put a little note in it because it's a group of successful entrepreneurial women. And the note is, there is no elevator to success, but you have to take it step by step. So, and this is what I meant by, I just want to give something that is meaningful and that makes my heart sing. And this is so important. That is one thing of the things in the tribe is to find people that have the same mindset and are feeling the same energy when they contribute with something. And this is one of the most important things for me in the tribe, that you give and you feel happy by just giving. And this is what I wanted to add as one important point.
Thank you for that. Very good. Very good. Anyone else want to put in a comment or two?
Tom, you're asking what we, participant, or what in the tribe can do one thing.
Go ahead again. I'm sorry.
I was asking, your question was for the member of the tribe can do one thing, or in the tribe we do one thing which can grow the tribe.
Well, I'd say it's both. Obviously, most of the focus is on how we get, has been on, not exclusively, how do we get the purpose to become more visible and more recognized, to bring, fullness back into people's lives where there's emptiness, or less than fullness. And in the course of that, I think in the tribe grows just as a byproduct of our focusing on the kinds of things that make things better for people. We'll get to where we're going to get to by those kinds of things. We have another guest joining us right now. And I'm very, very excited to have this gentleman with us. Let me introduce John King. Hey, John, welcome. You're on mute, my friend. So unmute yourself. And John, first of all, let me say welcome. Brett, I'm going to let you introduce John because I know you'll do it really, really, really well. And then I just You must have heard me use your name last night in another group I was speaking to. So I'm so thrilled that you're with us. You're in Guadalajara?
Outside of Guadalajara in Ajijic, little village.
Fantastic. Well, welcome. Brett, would you introduce John?
Sure. Well, John, good morning. It's great to see you. Thanks for jumping on. I know you had another meeting. John is a dear friend. He is an incredible authority on leadership. In fact, last week I was on a Zoom call to Russia that John was hosted on. And John was training, speaking in English, he was training 200 Russian bankers, executives on leadership. And it was being translated into Russian and is it Uzbek? Uzbek? Okay. And phenomenal. I got to sit in and witness it. It was great. He's the author of Tribal Leadership, and Tribal Leadership is a New York Times best-selling, top 20 best-selling leadership book of all time for New York Times. And he is just a wealth of knowledge, an authority on tribe. He's my go-to on leadership. I used to be and still love and respect John Maxwell, but I replaced him with another John King. And so welcome, John. It's good to have you.
Well, it's great to be here, Brett, and to be with you and Tom. And I just found out about it like 3 minutes ago. So Brett, thanks for reaching out to me. I got off of a call. I run a call every Saturday morning called Empty Your Cup, where we have people come from all over the world. Today we had quite a few people from the US and Canada, but also from England and from Oman and Lebanon. And what we do is we come on and we just talk about those things that are important to us. Usually that's our family or our business, our children, or our parents, those things that in our life that are really the rich and deep sort of things. And the background for that conversation, it has no agenda, but the background for the conversation is living your life as a work of art. So finish that and done with those guys, and over here to be with Brett and Tom and you, and I'm just thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, John. John was crucial in forming, helping Tony Hsieh form the culture of Zappos.com.
Yeah, I read his book. I read his book, Happiness.
Yeah, so you'll see clips of Tony Hsieh with the happiness culture, actually crediting tribal leadership and John King. And in fact, that's a required read at Zappos, tribal leadership. So we've got one of the best when it comes to tribe on the call with us.
Yeah, I think happiness is the most important. When I started my company 22 years ago, first thing was happiness. Mm-hmm. And now people call me happiness guru because first thing when in an interview we will bring and we will have the guy play games and video games or board games or tennis, and that was our interview. And if you cannot do happy things, then we don't want you in our company. That was our mantra.
Right. No, it's good.
It's great.
One of the things I'd like to we're right in the middle of a question that Tom has posed, and I want to insert something really quick before we have more feedback from everybody. Probably, and we're all adults here, so I can just, speak, plainly. But over the last 10 years, when all this really began, it began when real estate crashed and I was reinventing myself. And I would say the biggest frustration I've had over the 10 years has been the work to help people understand that the tribe building process is very different than the sales process. They are not the same thing. When the tribe building process is done properly and effectively, it increases sales opportunities. It increases life opportunities. It increases friendship opportunities, it increases everything in life. But they are not the same thing, and they get blurred, and that is a downfall to someone building tribe. The sales process should not begin until a real opportunity. There's a meeting of the minds that a real opportunity is present. Okay. If you blend them, then you begin the process of repelling tribe. So building tribe is one thing. It's not something, it's everything. And the way I've explained this in the past is all that you interact with is in your tribe. So it's life, it's business, it's your environment, it's yourself, it's your health, it's your mentality, your mindset, it's everything. Because it all matters in building tribe. Unhealthy mind, bad attitude, you're just going to struggle to build tribe, right? Sales come in when opportunities arise. And the purpose of building tribe is not just to find a sales opportunity. It's to have the highest and best life you possibly can. It's bringing the highest and best into your world, the only world that matters. It's your world because it's the only one you see, experience, and feel. And people come in and go out. And when they come in, they're in your tribe. When they go out, they're not. Okay, they elect in or out. It's a geography. It's a line in the sand, and people elect in and people elect out. Some of it has to do with you, some of it has to do with them. But inside of that line, sales opportunities come up, business opportunities come up, investment opportunities come up. And if you're stewarding yourself well and your resources well, you're aware of those opportunities. And when sales opportunities come up, you begin the sales process. I hope that makes sense.
Yes. Hey, Brett, could I make a comment just briefly? I was on a call last night. Here's an idea, perhaps something that can be incorporated here. This woman was running these networking meetings around the U.S. and they were done face-to-face. Now she's totally virtual. Well, what she was doing in her face-to-face meeting, she's doing some of this virtually, is she was pairing like-minded individuals before the meeting actually started and making sure that those 4 or 5 people actually congregated during these networking meetings to make it as much benefit as possible. So what I'm wondering is if you took and create a relational database or use AI somehow within the tribe, and you ask people 4 or 5 criteria, who are you looking for, or who do you want to be introduced to, as like Thomas always indicated, and put that in there, and then the other, so you have kind of a matchmaking in the tribe to help build that foundation for your tribes. I don't know what you think of that idea.
Tom will answer that.
Okay.
Well, Jeff.
Yes.
You've been reading our script.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's a short answer. I believe the ultimate goal is to bring like-minded people together who can support each other.
Correct.
And that, in fact, earlier this week, I had a conversation with Johar about this specific topic. And last night I was in another call with, I don't know how many, 60 to 70 people, I think. And we talked about that again as one of the things we would be aiming to do as we evolve. I'm in, as I say, tongue in cheek, I'm in violent agreement with you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great. And I have not seen anyone who has done it well.
Yeah, so far, there's no one. I think it's not only like-minded people. It's like, just like John is, guru of team building or tribe building, and then I need that expertise. So somehow the tool has to understand that, okay, Johor needs John's help, even though Johor and John has no common things. But if they get together, they can, Johor company can grow bigger, or his employees may be more happy, right? So that's the intelligence we need to bring into this.
Yeah.
Right, and then rank order the people somehow with regard to their expertise in their respective area, so you
Yes.
know that you're getting the correct people in your tribe. Because I mean, people can put these characteristics down or attributes, and they could be somewhat meaningless. But if the people are actually recognized for that, then it certainly help.
Yes. I think for that, I think also maybe Tom or Brett has to create a course to see people need to know what they don't have. Like I list down, things I don't know. Once I recognize, then I say, okay, I need to go find those people who can help me in those areas. But that's the hardest thing is to people everyone say, I know everything. Like, one of my friend, he has no attorney, he has no CPA, he has, I say, how do you run your business? They say, oh, I know more than them. I say, how come? They went to school, they did the thing, and they're doing every day, like 24 hours. That's what their job is. And you still think that you know more than them. So it's very hard to realize, it took me maybe 2-3 months to convince him, you need to get a CPA. You cannot do your business without that.
Excellent.
Good points. We're headed that direction. That's for sure.
Yeah. So stay tuned. We've got some pretty amazing plans for how the tool will evolve, but it's all aimed at helping bringing people together in a more focused and beneficial way. So thank you for that, Jeff. You became our marketing research product right there. So good stuff.
So Tom, you were asking one thing, what we can do.
Yeah.
I think I was thinking, what one thing we can do, we say we are not social media. That's the one thing we should do.
Yeah. Especially right now where media is being called fake and inauthentic, and yeah, we definitely want to steer away from that.
Yeah, we should say we are not social media, we are the real thing. Real relationships.
Excellent. I think, Brett, you and I have some work to do in that area.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to put a one thing that we can do to help expand and expose the message of why we should get into the mode of building collaborative, conscious, and responsible relationships? Go ahead, Connie.
I think going to where the people are that are frustrated. So Facebook, LinkedIn, they're frustrated, and speak to their pain. Do Facebook Lives, take a stand, put a flag in the stand, and show people that you're different than everything else. Because honestly, I hate to admit this, but I've been in the tribe for a while and I didn't understand what it was. When I hear you talk about this, I wish I had a time machine and got in it, started being more active in the tribe. I think when you speak to people's pain and you go where they are, you are going to be the biggest breath of fresh air that they've seen all year.
That's very sweet.
Thank you.
So John, how can I get connected with you? Are you in a tribe?
John is in the tribe, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It looked like you were going to say something.
I'm pretty much in anything that Brett and Tom are in.
Okay.
Has there been an update on your book, John, or is it, when was the last update? I just looked on Amazon. And...
Yeah, we published it in 2011 and
Right.
or 10 maybe. It was a long time ago. And it was one of those who knew. It became a #1 bestseller and stayed there for a long time. And then ultimately became one of those books that's considered to be de rigueur. sort of book.
So you still want to promote it, John?
Not so much. It's been 10 years ago, and I've had a lot of thoughts since then. And I think there are a lot of basic things about it that are in the book that are really good and well worth getting there. There are 4 tools and a lot of distinctions and 4 tools and models that are in there. There's a tool called a cultural map. And an adjacent tool or something that goes with it called there's a cultural map, the structural map. Then there's something called the Y strategy model, which is hugely useful. And then there's something called triads, which is a way that I stumbled on that has to do with networking that I think I've discovered is superior to other ways that I've seen to network. And so.
So did Simon Sinek, did he use some of your book for his book or the Y? Start with the Y? Is that what it's pretty? Oh.
No, Y is in the letter Y.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I was doing Michael Porter's strategy model, which is the gold standard. That's the blue ribbon. And I was in companies and I was working for years and I was good at what I was doing and I was successful. But even Porter himself will tell you that, strategies are only successful about 1/3 of the time. And I thought that was just terrible. I thought that, we've got to be better than 30% effective. If you're 30% effective and you're not playing baseball and you're not a hitter, then you're probably in the wrong deal. So I looked around to see, is there anything available, any model that's available that is more effective than 30% effective? And there wasn't in the business world. But it turned out as I continued to look and expand my search, I ended up in the U.S. Army War College. And I took a look at their strategy models and I saw that the U.S. Army is actually 80% effective with their strategic planning. And I thought, well, this is really good. So I found the guy who created the model for this U.S. Army War College, a guy named Bob Leonard. And he got his doctorate in military strategy. So I had him teach me his model. I learned his model. And I quickly learned that I knew now how to take over Kuwait, but I did not know how to be actually effective with people. And so I spent about a year refining his model, and it went through 21 different iterations. I had a learning group of what I consider to be the brightest people on the planet, which is bright 12-year-old girls. The reason I had bright 12-year-old girls is because my granddaughter was 12 years old and she was a ballerina. And so I had 300 little ballerinas that I could actually try it on. And the thing about a 12-year-old is if it's not working, they're moving on. So if it's working and it's about something that they're keen to do, and in this case, they were all keen to become better dancers, great dancers, in fact. So I used them and I went through 21 different iterations of this model using this pool of 300 12-year-old girls to kind of proof it for me. And we ended up with something that's pretty bulletproof. And I now teach it everywhere I go in my leadership training. And it's the model itself, the basic model is inside of what looks like the letter Y. So it's called the Y model, Y strategy model. And it turns out that what's different about this is rather than me delivering a model that somebody else has figured out and given to you to do for your company, which probably makes a lot of sense and is very smart, I actually end up with you and you actually create the model. I just facilitate it. And you create your own model for your own outcome and you design your own behaviors and you identify your own pitfalls. And once we've gone through this process, you actually understand how to design your own future. And it's a model that is designed for the next 90 to 120 days. So it's short term. It's designed that way because I wanted to have it connect to thinking from a quarterly point of view, a business point of view. And so every quarter we create a new model that stands on the shoulders of the model that goes before. And since you're the one who designs your own model, it's probably highly likely that you will do what you say you're going to do because it's in your self-interest. And you can see that it works out. You've answered a number of questions that have validated that model for you. And when people do apply that model, it is about 60 to 70% effective. So it's, so in the book, Tribal Leadership, there are several models. One of them is a cultural map that talks about the 5 levels or stages of cultures in terms of language, how people talk, what is the language or the vocabulary they use. Then there's the 5 structural stages that match up to that. And then there is a tool that we use to build what we call stage 4 cultures that is based on triads, based on triangular relationships, because we saw my relationship with Brett is actually unstable by design, because in this relationship, Brett's on this end and I'm on this end, and this is our relationship. And as long as we're behaving ourselves, everything's fine. But when something happens in a relationship, and something always, every time, always happens in a relationship, the relationship goes like that. And when the relationship goes like that, and Brett is here and John is here, Brett has something to say about it, and so does John. And what Brett says is, my life sucks. And what John says is, I'm great and you're not, and I have the stats to prove it. And here's the rest of Brett and John's relationship. It goes like this until we divorce each other. So I found that that's the model that is being used for networking right now, and I find that it's flawed. However, when I began to look at what created stable, effective relationships, I asked a structural question rather than a relationship question. And the relationship question is, what's the minimum number of people in a relationship for it to be stable and effective? And the knee-jerk answer is 2. But when you ask people where they got that answer of 2, turns out they don't know. And it turns out that where they got it is they got it from the movies. They got it from, I want you, I need you, I love you. They got it from the music they listened to. They got it from the poetry that they've been reading. But that does not create a stable relationship. It creates a dyadic relationship. So then I began to look, and I asked the question, what is the minimum number of anchor points for a stable and effective object? Turns out the answer is 3, like a tripod. More is better, and much more is much better. But at that point, I actually took on the idea of building relationships based on triads. So I have a relationship with Tom and with Brett and John. So there's the 3 of us, and we're organized around one idea called tribe. So we are pulled together by that. In this relationship, and you can hear it in the way we relate to each other, Tom is accountable for the quality of the relationship between Brett and John. Brett is accountable for the relationship and the quality and the success of the relationship between John and Tom. And I am responsible and accountable for the quality and the effectiveness of the relationship between Tom and Brett. So since my attention is no longer on me and what I can get out of this, my attention is on them, and both of their attention is on me, I live in a very powerful dynamic. And the dynamic works like this. If I ask you this question, if I give you $1, and for every $1 that I give you, you get $2 back, how long would you want to play that game?
Forever.
You give me $1, and you will get $2 back. You'll want to play that game forever because that's a stabilizing game. So for every time that Brett contributes into the relationship between Tom and John are contributing back to Brett. So he's getting 2 for 1 in every case. And I found out that this is why triangles are stable. And so we build our relationships on a triangular kind of notion. Two rules. One rule is that the vertex, so that's me in this case, is accountable for the success of the opposite leg. So think of it like a geometry case. So if you're a mom and you have a husband and you have a child, you are responsible for the success of the relationship of the husband and the child. Same thing if you're the husband. So we are all responsible for the success of the triangles that we have around us. And if you look, you'll find that your entire life, where it is working, where it's solid, where it's stable, and where it's effective, is made up of triangles. And it's operating in a stable and effective way because of that. So triads, culture map, structural map, triads, and the Y strategy model. And so if you should happen to read Tribal Leadership, those are the 4 things to get out of it.
Awesome.
Very, very interesting.
Thank you.
Now, there's a whole lot more that's in the book beyond that, but mostly it's padding, I will tell you frankly. If you write a book on leadership and you have a publisher, we had HarperCollins was our publisher, you sign a contract where you're required to write 80 or 90,000 words, 10 chapters, say. Now, there's nothing about leadership that is, given if you have a point of view. A lot of people are out there. John Maxwell, for example, incredible. Everybody's got a lot of things, and everybody could probably put it in about 30 pages. But you have to write a book that is 160 pages. So it turns out that your book has a lot of anecdotal stories and case studies in it. So that's not useful. What's useful are the tools and the models and the distinctions.
Very good.
Thank you.
So
Thanks.
how we can put that ideas in the tribe?
We're working on that.
It's in. You're already, whether you know it or not, you're already working inside of these kinds of, when I came to it, Brett and I and Tom have had many conversations, and the way that you're being brought into that is really integrating those ideas. Those are not the senior ideas. Those are the integrated ideas into the tribe conversation. So you're already in this conversation.
That's good.
I love what you said, John, and I'll cross-reference in looking at someone's profile in the tribe. You have the opportunity to create a triadic relationship.
There you go.
When I introduce, let's say, Connie to Todd, they both take on a position in that triad with me.
That's
I have a responsibility, first of all, to make the right introduction, and second of all, to stay in the dialogue to ensure that it's moving in a direction where everyone is coming out ahead. So those
that's so true, Tom. And the thing about it is, it's an opportunity to introduce people to other people who will fill in the holes in their game. You know, like, how do I say your name? Zaidi, how do I say your first name?
Johar.
Jafar. Jafar said, you know, he was trying to convince this guy, this blockhead that he was talking to, that he needed a lawyer and he needed a CPA. Duh. I mean, that is a duh. There's only three major fundamental earth-shattering distinctions in life at all, and they are aha, duh, and wow. And that one's a duh. So, you know, and it took him, like he said, took you 3 months to get the guy convinced that maybe he needed a CPA because he was better. Well, that's something that will keep you trapped. That'll keep you small unless you actually understand. So what we need is we need partners, really partners, and we're not very good at partnering, but we need partners, and we need partners who are filling in the holes in our game. See, I've already got this part down, so I don't really need a lot of help with this part. I need help with that part, and maybe 2 or 3 other parts as well. So we try and surround ourselves with, yes, like-minded people, but at the same time, people who will fill in the holes in our game so that they will build a stable and effective group for us that is comprised of triads and with everybody in relationship with everybody else. So I'm not trying to run the show. It's not a hub and spoke deal. I want everybody talking to everybody else because we're going to get the benefit of their expertise. Otherwise, I'm just the boss, and I've just got what I've got is I've got a kind of a master-slave relationship with people rather than a partnering relationship with people.
Which is collaboration. And we've talked about this before,
Exactly.
John, that a lot of people know and understand the word collaboration. It's a whole different deal to collaborate.
Yeah.
And John, can you do this just real quick answer on this one? On triads, I think it will help paint a visual for people. If you think of your tribe as a geography, a line around your contacts, and there are 100 contacts in there, John, in a tribe of 100, how many combinations of triads exist?
Well, you know, the thrown answer that most people would say was something like, oh, I don't know, 33, something like that. The actual answer is somewhere around 80,000.
That's incredible. If you think about that, think of those as like bonding molecules to a tribe. You know, that's pretty amazing.
Listen, look in this, you know, I'm just looking at this page. And on this page, I've got my nuclear triad, which is Tom, Brett, John. But we've also got, I have Tom, John, Veronique Benoit. I have Veronique, Brett, Connie. I have Connie, Jahur, Barry. I have Barry, John, Tom. I have Todd, Jeff, John. I have Brett, Gary, Todd. All of those are triads. And my job is one thing, the realization, the duh of it all, is that I'm not in the business that I think I'm in. I'm not in the business I think I'm in. If I'm a teacher, I think I'm in the teaching, learning business. If I'm in the real estate, I think I'm selling and buying and leasing homes. No, I'm not in that business at all. Let's just take the case of real estate. I'm in the relationship business. I'm in the relationship business, and God gave me real estate as a vehicle to do my relationships. So once I understand that everything is about the quality and the power of my relationships with people, I now start actually being a little nicer. I actually start listening a lot better, and I start finding people who can help each other. I actually coached a woman, her name is Darla Longo, and she was with CBRE, which is the world's largest commercial real estate company. And she was a person who had been with the company 19 years when I showed up. And she had been netting to herself $1.5 million a year. But every 2 or 3 years, she fired everybody on her team. She'd have 2 or 3 people on her team, and she would fire them because they wouldn't obey her. So we had a conversation, and it was a loud conversation. It was a conversation that I had to talk loud for her to hear it, because she was very clear with her 19.5 years of making $1.5 million that she was right about it. But she then took on the idea of triads, and she took on the idea of some of the coaching that I gave her, and got that she was in the relationship business. And when she became a chapter in the book, Tribal Leadership. And she went from $1.5 million net to her to $6 million in 3 years. In another 2 years, she was making $11 million. In the year of the crash, 2008, 2009, she made $17.5 million. How much did you make? She made it because it was, and her company went from her little piece of the company, because, you know, when you're in the real estate company is an umbrella and you are a CEO. And she went from 3 other people to 19 other people over the period of 6 years. And those people were making $500,000 a piece. So their money is out there. The money's not the issue. Relationship is the issue. And when we get really good at triangulating our relationships and building our relationships in such a way that we are ensuring the success of the others in the relationship, then we are well on our way to making the money we want to make. But the money is not, we are not in the money business. We are in the relationship business. And I will, I don't know. I'll die for that principle.
Beautiful.
I love it.
Yeah, I think that's really, really enlightening. But, you know, I've been running my company for 22 years, and every time I hire employees, I say, you know, I'm here to grow you. So tell me what's your 5-year plan is. So, and I ask them, you know, so I can help you grow to that thing. And I have grown from my companies, many CEOs, CFOs, and technologists, and start their company. I help start their own company when they have an idea.
Yeah. See, the thing is that well beyond your company, you've built a community.
Yes.
You know, and I'll tell you, when it gets down to the end of time and you're laying on your deathbed, the contribution that you made to your community is going to be a whole lot more than you made a lot of money with the company.
Yeah, we call it a PAMI. They're all my company name is Palm Chips. So all employees, I don't call them employees, I say they are PAMIs. They are my partners.
I love it. And I love that you had that relationship to the work of Tony Hsieh. I will tell you that Tony Hsieh was not chopped liver when he showed up for me. He already knew what he was doing. All I could do was help him fill in the holes in his game. But he was already a genius.
Yeah, I think, you know, what I have today is all because of all these people who helped me, not just because of me.
Yeah. Well said, Jahir.
Yeah.
Really well said.
Excellent. I'm fascinated by triadic, the concept of triadic relationships, because it so fits the concept of creating teams and partners and referral partners. So I'm going to share with you all a question I use, and I'd never thought of calling it triadic, but it is. And I teach this in some of my referral training. And the question is, John, how would I know if I met someone they would be a good person for me to introduce to you? And what happens is, as you respond to that and I make that connection, now all of a sudden we form that triadic relationship. And the reason why I ask that question is if I can give you that, then you're at some point going to want to ask that of me.
That's
and
right.
All growing together.
You know, that is so true, Tom. I will tell you that how Darla did it, because Darla she's a very social person. Once she got the idea that she could be friends with people rather than they were all competitors. And here's what she did. She started, she has 2 parties a year. One of them is a once a year golf tournament for charity. And what happens is she puts people into threesomes, not foursomes. And they play golf together because you get to know somebody well when you played some golf with them. And then what she does is she'll have a party and she invites all of her customers or clients and all of her competitors. And they all come together and she goes and she takes people and she says, you need to know Jahir, you need to know Connie. Connie, you need to know Jahir. And she actually gets you together because she knows that if you're going to make a deal, she's in the deal. And this is how she went from $1.5 million to 17 million, because she's in an unbelievable number of deals. And more deals than she could have cooked up on her own, more deals that she could have done going out and finding the property to buy, sell, or lease or anything else like that. She found people, put them together, and just made sure that her relationship was such that the understanding was that if something happens out of it, she's in the deal.
You just described a principle that you and I spoke about the other day, John, and that is survival, stability, success, and significance.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's so good. That was such a great conversation, Brett.
Yeah, it was fun. And you know, if you look at success as addition, it's one-to-one, and hopefully you're forming triads, but most likely, you know, people can get to a certain level of success one-to-one. But in order to become significant, like Darla was her name?
Darla, yeah.
Yeah, it requires multiplication. It's algorithmic. So in this situation, she learned how to triad and she started multiplying. And this is a really good construct for tribe. You know, if you can look at it that way. Success, you're out there looking for a deal, you're transactional. You know, yeah, you'll close deals until you're tired of closing deals. You know, I'm only 50 and I'm tapering down that hard-hitting effort to close deals all the time. And I'm looking for ways to leverage the rest of my life and into significance. And that's very, very much about building triads.
Yeah. The question that I confronted Darla with, which is a question that I stumbled on, but was a question that I now ask every single person that I'm ever coaching who is successful at doing one-to-one and one-on-one. And the reason you're doing one-to-one and one-on-one is, let's tell the truth, is so you can control the relationship. So the question that I ask, because see, everybody who does this, everybody's special anyway. You know, we're all special. Every one of us is special. Some of us are so special, we're just special. You know, that's what my grandmother would have said. Oh, aren't you special? Like that. But the question is, would you be willing to give up being special in the interest of being extraordinary?
Oh.
Now, what I'm asking, would you be willing to give up having to be in control in the interest of out of your mind success? And that's what collaboration is about. Would I be willing to give up being in control in order to collaborate? Because would I be willing to give up being the master in a master-slave relationship in order to be a partner? Would I be willing to give up being special in the interest of being extraordinary. And let me tell you something. When people answer that and they actually give up being special and they start being extraordinary, the thing that they discover is they're more special than they ever thought they would ever be.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's very true. I think your point about working with competitors or helping competitors.
Yep.
I have done that. I see who is my competitor and then make relationship, and I try to help them get more business.
Good.
And one of the competitor I had was, his business went like going, and then I helped him buy a buyer. So he sold his company to the other guy, and then he became my best friend.
Of course. Of course. And it's like, why do we not see this? If you go to any town that you go to, you look on the four corners and there's a McDonald's and a Wendy's and a Big Jack, what do they call it? Jack in the Box, and there's something. Every one of those is helping the other. That's why they have food courts.
Yes.
They're all supposedly competitors. Every one of them is helping the other. They're all pulling people in who are hungry.
Yeah.
Well, the same thing is true with any business. So what we want to do is we want our competitors to thrive because it creates the niche, and you want to be the niche leader. So build a tribe out of your competitors.
Yeah, I think
you're all in the same game.
Yeah, and it's like, once you start thinking a business or helping people, my thing is how I can make people happy.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
So
you can go to Bhutan.
Yes.
Tom, we have 9 minutes left. How would you like to wrap up?
Well, let's just go around the room and give people a chance to kind of share with us a takeaway, something they're carrying home, or you're all in your homes, so most likely something you're going to carry into next week that as you share that with us, maybe we can add it to our portfolio of what we carry into next week.
So great.
So this is a volunteer organization. So Todd, you raised your hand.
Yeah. Oh, you can't see me. Oh, I'm kidding. Yeah, I'm just learning a lot from all of you today. Thanks, James. Thanks, John, for all that. I think my biggest takeaway so far, I've been taking a ton of notes, is just creating a community. And I have a few projects going on in my new business, and I've kind of gone away from just selling things. I'm just creating a community, creating projects together. You're my partner in some of this work. And so the language has changed for me, especially the last year or two. Out of selling that one-time sale, like salespeople are just talked to, like, what'd you sell for me today? The whole idea of just creating relationships and just starting to not just change your words, but your heart in the whole conversation. So I love everybody's, words of advice to make that happen. I know earlier before you got on, John, we were talking about, millennials. And I just completed my third book, and it's amazing how you get the research on millennials. They're just desperate for this, as they're going away from these 3-day millionaire challenges, and they're just taught to live in this fake world of social media, and that really want to build relationships. They just don't know how to do that. Yep. And they can't find it anywhere. So I appreciate your book and what you're doing, because that's what I can give the kids I deal with, is they want to build relationships. They don't want to be depressed anymore. Mm-hmm. And they want this. So thank you for doing all the work you do.
Thank you, Todd. Mm-hmm. Who else would like to give us a comment or two for taking it to next week?
Yeah, for me, the takeaway was collaboration. And when I think of my journey on inTHETRIBE, I haven't initiated any tribes outside of my business, and I've got about 4 tribes altogether, without a partner. And one of the partners could be a potential competitor, but we're collaborating to the extent where we're actually doing projects, building tribe together. So I appreciate that insight that was shared earlier. Partnership, collaboration.
Thank you, Gary.
I'd just like to, as far as a takeaway, it reinforces what I talk about in all the career ministry talks I give, is Up in Your Game. This is a book by David Bradford. It talks about the essence of helping others. If you help others, it'll help you get ahead as well. The boomerang might always come back, but it does in a lot of cases. but nevertheless, it helps you feel good about yourself and what you're doing and being altruistic. You can't beat it.
Excellent. Thank you, Jeff.
I think it's, it's just enforcing, like I was doing all this thing without knowing. So talking to you and you explaining this theory, and it just enforce. I could have done a lot better if I knew these things before. So, but my dad always used to say that you make sure you make your boss the star, not yourself. So do whatever. So that's I did. And then I created the culture that everybody's helping each other. And like in our PAMIs meeting, I used to have every Wednesday. And we used to say PAMIs help each other. PAMIs are creative. PAMI are helpful. So and PAMI grow other PAMIs. So that was the 4 things every week. Wednesday I used to tell, even to the janitor of our building will be in the building, and he has a race because he needs to grow this company to make sure everything is clean. So it just enforced my belief or whatever I've been doing. I think I was doing it without all these things.
Excellent.
Thank you. Anyone else want to bring a comment in?
I do. I think for me, and thank you for this, John, but the concept of the triad, I've always viewed relationships as just 2 people. You have a relationship with another person. And so the concept of bringing a 3rd person into that is very, very interesting, and something I will want to implement.
Yeah, and Barry, if you look, I think you'll see that you have triads even when you're only with one other person, if you have a really inspiring idea holding you together.
Mm-hmm.
So the 3rd element, it doesn't have to be a person. It can be, your love of God. It could be, what brought you and your wife together in the very beginning. That sort of thing. And then the kid came along and reinforced it. That sort of thing. So it doesn't have to be a person, but it needs to be. When I met Brett and Tom, they had a powerful triadic relationship with this brilliant idea of thriving tribes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So the idea, but the thing to remember is that idea has to nurture both of you, and it has to keep you straight, and it has to be as powerful as either one of the humans that are in the deal. But it doesn't have to be 3 people.
Interesting. Thank you.
Sure.
Connie, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I am in the relationship business. I highlighted it, I bolded it, I put 3 exclamation marks. I'm so grateful for what you shared today, and it just resonates so strongly. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome, Connie. Veronique Benoit.
Yes, I also want to say that I'm blown away with the information of today, and especially the talk about the millenniums. My brain is thinking. So after this call, I will order everyone's books because I want to give them to my son. He is 21, and I try to bring what I'm learning here. And it's absolutely so true that they are in a complete other world. And it would be great if I could open his eyes and see that it's all about relationships, because he just graduated, he's 21, he's in finance, and he's looking for a job. And the only way that he's looking for a job is online, and only with social media, sending letters. And I am like, you have to build a relationship. So I am going to hope to inspire him with, John, your book. So he reads a lot and he gets inspired from all this, the top people. So that are his heroes. But it's so true what you all were saying. So I am just how trying to figure out how I will get into him to see it the way
Veronique,
I see
and
it.
also, Veronique, I would say invite him to come to a Thriving Tribe meeting, you know, to the power lunches or the power breakfasts. Come to those, you know, so that he can actually be in the company, be in an ecology of people
Yes,
who are thinking
yes.
this way.
Yeah,
Because as a
I'm the
finance
model.
guy, he's not thinking that way. He's thinking solo.
He's thinking, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So put
And
him in a
I-
tribe. You know, invite him to the tribe. He would be more than welcome. I know that Brett and Tom would make him hugely welcome, and I know everybody else would too, because he's an asset. You know, he's going to be bringing more value into the tribe. But, you know, just so invite him as a guest to join you, because he doesn't naturally get, women get this, men don't get this. And young men are real blockheads and really don't get this.
Oh, don't tell me.
For a long time, the thing about how important relationship is. Okay, look at me, I'm old. It took me a long time.
With a lot of knowledge. But the thing is that with this whole COVID, they are more also isolated.
Yes.
So they are stuck. So everything now, the world that we are living in is just in the other direction. So it's so true. And I really, this is an eye opener.
Take them out of survival. You have to put them into a tribe.
True.
For you to get out of survival, you know that for yourself, Veronique.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, in order, whenever you are in survival and things are bad, you go and you talk to your girlfriends, you talk to your husband, you talk to your family, you talk to your friends. You know to do that. Guys know to just kind of suck it up and be tough.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff.
Thank you.
John, we haven't heard from you. If you want to say anything, since we don't see you,
I am going to buy John's book. I'm going to tell you that right now. I haven't read it, and I'm really interested in reading it.
Excellent.
Just remember that there is life beyond tribal leadership. It's a book, you know, and it is to the value that it is, and you'll get the value out of it that you do. But just know that it's not a Bible, and that there's life beyond it, and there's a lot of thought that is advanced and grown beyond what it was published 10 years ago.
Okay.
Excellent. Brett, you want to add a comment or two?
Yeah, just real briefly, guys, this has been absolutely amazing from every one of you. What I'll say, and I'll continue to say every time we probably meet, is that building tribe is an activity. In fact, it's an activity that's unavoidable. Whether you think you're doing it or you're not doing it, you're either expanding or contracting your tribe. Building a thriving tribe is an art. It's a different thing. People that aren't even aware they're building tribes are building tribes. You're aware, and these calls are meant to make us more aware. The insights here are to make us more aware and to find the balance in what causes our tribe to expand and thrive as an ecosystem, as an ecology, like a community, a village. You're at the center of a city, and that city is either thriving or not, and that's an art. So it's as much important to learn and understand as it is to apply. And it's very much as important to apply as it is to learn and understand. So learn, apply, observe, pivot, do it again. Learn, apply, observe, pivot, do it again.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. John, any final comment for our community here this morning?
I'm just so grateful for the work that you and Brett have done, and that I kind of got to kind of swing in late and take a victory lap with you. But the work that you guys have done, and I'm just grateful to be, you know, it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be around and with.
Well, it's a privilege for us to have you with us. You know, Brett, I was just thinking a moment ago, how, you know, when one or the other of us talks, we can finish each other's sentences. And you took a bit of what I was going to sum up with. I wouldn't say it as eloquently as you. I'd say it with my own Tomisms. But one of the
Which would be better.
I have for us all, and it's kind of I want to raise the awareness of it. We talk about collaborative, conscious, and responsible. And my belief is we've got the collaborative part down pretty good, and we've got the responsible part down pretty good. And what I celebrate today is we've raised our consciousness up to a higher level. All of us, we're sharing in this together at a higher level. And that excites me because it portends for us, you know, the 11 of us, add Richard, 12 of us going out with this information. Look at what we can do as we keep on the top of mind the importance of relationship and the collaboration and the responsibility. If you look at collaborative, conscious, and responsible, it's a triad. Isn't that interesting? It's a triad, and they all work better together than any two alone.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Well said. John called that out a while back too, Tom, just so you know. So good call there. He would refer to collaborative, conscious, and responsible as a triad. So you nailed that.
Well, for once I
just say
you. Good job. Okay, well, thank you all for your Saturday morning, Saturday early afternoons. This has been very special. John, a special thanks for you to
Thank you, John.
keep us in.
And,
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Brett.
Thanks,
Thanks, everybody.
Great being with everyone.
Thanks, Connie.
Thanks, everybody.
Enjoy the rest of your
Good job,
weekend.
everybody. Vernie.
See you, Tom.
Okay, bye.
Bye, Brett.
Thank
Blessings.
Great contribution, everyone.